Good morning, everybody. It's Nick, as you can see. Today, I would like to talk about the process of dying and my role as a soul midwife. So, soul midwifery is a relatively new concept in terms of the roles and the support available for people with an end-of-life diagnosis. Now, the role of the soul midwife is to provide emotional and therapeutic support to the people living with the end-of-life diagnosis, effectively facing an imminent death. And when I say imminent, that could be weeks, it could be months, it could even be years. Who knows? Death very much walks to its own beat. And also to provide that support to the families too. And so our role is very much to work alongside palliative care and medical staff. It is not a medical role, it is a supporting role. And our focus is very much about stepping in to that space with a person facing their own death, their mortality, and to be able to create a very, very safe, non-judgmental space to allow them to do lots of different things, actually. And it's a very, very individualised process. But part of enabling the most peaceful death possible is not just about the physical elements and controlling pain. I've observed it's actually, hugely important, the emotional and the mental side. Now, also we can talk about the spiritual side. I know not everybody's comfortable with spirituality, so I would offer two ways of looking at that. It may be more philosophical for some people, and other people may see it as more spiritual. In actual fact, for a soul midwife, it doesn't matter. We're non-denominational. We're not held to any label or particular approach. That's the whole point. It's very much about what the person who is facing end of life needs. And our role is very much to hold space, to provide the time and the opportunity for people to talk, to reflect, to plan, to resolve things, to revisit, to perhaps facilitate conversations that they want to have, to perhaps be able to share things that they need to share around their fears, all kinds of things. But it's more comfortable for them to share with somebody who is not one of their loved ones, because it can be very, very difficult, because when somebody is facing end of life, everybody's grieving. The person who's dying is grieving, and everybody around them is grieving, and everybody is trying to very often save another from any additional hurt. So we are there in that space to provide that support, and also just to talk, and to be able to talk really honestly, very often about quite deep, dark fears, or some of the aspects of death that they don't feel able to share with others. It also may be an advocacy role in terms of helping the person facing end of life ensure that their wishes are heard and understood. It's really, really important part of the process that even though somebody is dying, they do not lose their voice and their ability to have a say in how that they want their death to be. And our role is very, very much a supporting, a facilitating, a caring role. Now, a lot of soul midwives also offer an awful lot of beautiful complementary therapies, which are hugely important, actually, particularly as you go through the journey. It may be Reiki healing, it may be the use of essential oils, it may be therapeutic touch. There's all kinds of different things. For me, I think the role I have tended to play is to be able to walk into the space with the person who is facing end of life and also their loved ones, and just to be able to create the permission doesn't seem the right word, because it's not up to me to give anybody permission, but to give them the opportunity to be able to share and to talk and to just gently question and to follow the train of thought, and to be able to stay in that space no matter how difficult those conversations, no matter how sad it gets. And of course, towards the end, a big part of what I would do is vigiling. So particularly as people are going through the process and ending their near end of life, they withdraw. They naturally start to withdraw from the world that we live in, and they sleep more and they talk far less, until eventually towards the end there may not be any conversations, but actually there are conversations in a different way. Conversations don't always need words to happen, and that's very often something that's experienced through vigiling, where I would sit with that person, maybe hold their hand, but it's just the energy and the presence and the reassurance, and I would talk to them, not enormously and not loudly, because it's a very genteel time, and people need to be able to detach from this human world to go wherever it is they're going. So that is, in essence, me trying to give a sense of what soul midwifery is about, and why it is, in my humble opinion, a hugely important part of the process for people facing end-of-life diagnosis. And the earlier I can develop relationships with people, then the better we can get to know each other, and the better I'm able to support them and their families. And one of the things that I am finding, and this is my call for help really, is that as a soul midwife, I offer all of my time, all of my services pro bono. It is not something for me that I charge for at all. I'm a professional soul midwife. I'm professionally qualified. I have experience. I have professional insurance. But my services I give pro bono. I give with love. I've had a career before this, and this is now what I want to do. But it's actually quite difficult. It's actually quite difficult, and really frustratingly so, to get to people who actually need your help. So I do volunteer at a hospice, which is hugely rewarding. Hugely, I can't tell you how rewarding it is. But I would really, really love to be able to be in a position where people can come to me, should they choose. You know, this isn't for everybody, but should they choose to have this support much earlier in the process. But actually trying to, because it is a relatively new concept, and because we do live in a transactional world where everything is paid for, when you are not charging for your services, and in addition to that you are trying to bring into this world something that's relatively new, although ironically, if we look back over time, and the process of death was far more non-medicalised in days gone by, and far more people died at home and were cared for by the community. And indeed, in less developed countries, that is still very much the case. You would have had, you know, soul midwifery would just have been a natural thing. It's a little bit like the same story of midwifery. I mean, midwifery in the early days was not a professionalised profession. It was something that was provided in a community by women who had already gone through that process, and then would help the younger women to be able to do that. It was only, you know, in relatively recent history that midwifery became, you know, a medical profession and recognised as such, and quite rightly so. And in a lot of ways, soul midwifery, I think, is maybe at that stage where it's still a relatively new concept, but actually it is a natural thing that we need in our lives, in our community, to help people be able to reclaim the process of death, for it not to be quite, I mean, of course, medical intervention is so important. And the palliative care staff I work alongside are just, they're beautiful angels. They're just amazing. But I think that the work of the soul midwife is hugely beneficial, and working together in tandem is really, really important. But it is something that is a relatively new concept in terms of bringing it into a tangible, recognised form with the appropriate training, and the experience that goes alongside that. So I had to do quite a lot of training. I had to do 3 separate, quite in-depth pieces of training, as well as quite a lot of coursework. And then I also had to do a probationary period where, I had to work for a certain length of time with people facing end of life care to show that, I've got the ability to put that theory into practice in the appropriate way. And so I think my ask is that I am here. I am genuinely here as a soul midwife to be able to step into that space and hold somebody's hand as they go on their journey to their end of life. And I'm here to provide that support in the way that it needs to be provided according to that person, in a non-medicalised way. And I really would like to reach more people, and for more people to feel that they can come to me and have that support, whether that be face to face because the distance works, or maybe, with the age of technology, we don't have to live next to each other. Of course, it's preferable to be physically with somebody, but I don't think that should be the showstopper. And I am really, really drawn to working with younger people facing end of life. I know that the acute grief and the sadness and the unfairness and the trauma that can often go with people dying before their time, before their life has been fully rolled out before them, can be so overwhelming, so difficult to process. And I am here to be able to step into that space with people and provide whatever comfort and support and compassion I can. I can't fix things. I can't make things go away. I can't make it be other than it is. But I can sit in that space with you, and I can give you the time and the attention and the love that you need to be able to talk, to plan, to rage, to cry, to laugh, whatever it is that you need to do in order to be able to navigate your way on what is ultimately the most courageous and still largely unknown of journeys. So please share my words. Please share any of my blogs that I write. Please feel free to reach out to me, and please do not, there's no hidden catch here. You don't get to reach out to me and have a conversation and then feel that there's some hidden catch and you're going to be charged something, or you're going to feel obliged to allow me to help or anything like that. There is absolutely no expectation. This is exactly who I am and what I am trying to do. I am a soul midwife. I am here to accompany people on their journey as they face end of life, and to do so with love and compassion. There is no hidden agenda, though there isn't any cost associated. It is just me saying, please do share this, and please do reach out to me if I can be of help. Sending you so much love. Thanks for listening. Bye.